What is up, you guys? I hope everybody's doing well. And I'm going to be breaking down Shakur Stevenson versus Jamel Herring, I believe, for the WBO Championship, October 23rd. Should be a good fight. Both guys coming off a win in their last fights and whatnot. And yeah, man, if you're new, welcome. Hit the subscribe button. Throw those thumbs up. Ring that bell so you get all notifications of the content I put up. And let's get right to it, guys. Jamel Herring versus Shakur Stevenson, October 23rd. Should be a good fight. I'm going to talk about Jamel first. Jamel, he looked pretty good against Carl Frampton. Um, he was on early. He looked good. I love his straight crosses to the body. It was a masterful performance for Jamel Herring. I really love his body shots, and like his combination started off with that cross to the body to everything else played a part. Beautiful uppercuts. He was catching Frampton early with those, slipping the guard a little bit or whatnot. He was already setting that punch up. It was really nice. Yeah, I love like I said, his combination to the body, beautiful. Then to come up top in the head, playing nice little in the pocket boxing with Frampton, especially like in the later round, the third and the fourth or whatnot. He dropped Frampton in the fifth with it looked like a cross. It was so fast, and the angle that had the camera and whatnot. It looked like a cross. I don't think it was a jab. It looked like a cross. He dropped him with. Frampton went on defensive mode after he got dropped or whatnot. Then to come out on the sixth, so like pretty much the same. He got caught with a vicious uppercut, and it wasn't like Jamel wasn't throwing that already throughout the fight. He was throwing it out throughout the fight, and it just took that one good uppercut. He got up by like a second left, before the 10 count, and then he was just getting smashed, until the referee stopped it or whatnot. But during that fight, I seen a lot of good things with Jamel. Nice little jab. But I would say the one punch he was throwing a lot is that straight cross to the body. It was beautiful, and he has good counters as well, because he was definitely counter fighting and using his reach, and he was definitely fighting long in that fight against Frampton. Shakur Stevenson in his last fight, he fought Jeremiah Nakatella, something, I don't know his last name. Stevenson came out, defensive fighter. He looked good. He dropped him in the first round. It was a good fight. The little that I seen of Shakur Stevenson, I like his fighting style, defensive style of fighting. But like I say, when it comes to this guy, Danny Garcia, it's kind of similar to that, like they don't really like being inside the pocket too much. Danny Garcia is a defensive fighter, but sometimes he can be too defense, and I feel like Shakur Stevenson is just like that. Jeremiah had him going back in that fight, stepping back, but still holding his ground and out countering, and countering Jeremiah throughout that fight, and it was a masterful performance for Stevenson. He's still coming up. I don't think he's gonna fare well against, the other guys like Davis and Teo or Haney or any of those guys yet. But he's coming up. He looks good. He's young, hungry. I think this fight with Herring, I think it's gonna and it should bring out the best of Shakur Stevenson, because I don't feel like anybody that he's fought yet has really brought out the best of him. Everybody says, and I say it too, that, he needs to become a little more offensive and not be too defensive, and I get it. Listen, anybody that knows me or see me do anything, I'm defensive, but I don't mind being in the pocket. I don't think Shakur Stevenson is going to want to be in the pocket. The only thing I would say Shakur Stevenson with this fight against Herring doesn't have a lot of movement in his style of blocking, and then when he's trying to counter, he leaves himself open at times. So I think Shakur Stevenson, once he picks that up, he's definitely gonna the fight definitely gonna go in his favor. For Herring, I feel like he should take what he did in the last fight and kind of fight Shakur the same way. You know, throw those jabs to the body, combinations to the body. You know, to come on top like he did with Frampton. Um, yeah, I think this is a big step up for Shakur Stevenson to see how he's gonna do against somebody. I think if Herring comes out the way he did against Frampton, being the offensive fighter, getting his combinations off, I think he can really, put it on Shakur. Shakur, I do see him a lot, and he is kind of defensive more or less, and counters. Hey, I'm up for that. He throws his offense whenever he sees fit, but sometimes it's just too defense, and then he doesn't get off his shots. He still wins his fights when I seen him stop people before too. So he has the power to put out Herring, and Herring obviously the older man. Herring had the title already. He made 3 title defenses, so that's pretty cool. Uh, I think if Herring fights long and stays long, and win by this, I think he can beat Shakur Stevenson by decision. I don't think he's gonna. Shakur Stevenson has pretty good head movement. His defense is really tight. I mean, obviously, not nobody's untouchable, but I think Stevenson has really good head movement. I think if Herring could just outpoint him, outland him, outcounter him, and just be first, he could definitely stop Stevenson and win by decision. For Stevenson, I feel like he needs to just step on the gas a little more. I don't see him stepping too much on the gas as much when I see him fight. And I'm like I said, he wins, he gets the points, he gets the rounds that he needs, to win the fight. But I think everybody would throw some even more respect on Stevenson if he comes out, a little more offense. I'm sorry, than he is on a normal being 2 defense. And I feel like being a defensive fighter, or too much of a decent defensive fighter, and by the time you try to start turning it on, it'd be too late sometimes. You know, and I get it. I love defense. Defense is probably the most thing. Nobody wants to get hit all the time, especially in the head. And in boxing, it's a guarantee that the head and the body are the main things you're going to be getting hit with. So yeah, guys, those are my thoughts and breakdown of Jamel Herring versus Shakur Stevenson. You guys let me know in the comment section who you think is going to win the fight. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.